Yeah, yeah, it's on a pallet.
They're both on separate pallets.
Yeah, just drop them down. How you been, brother?
Pretty good, pretty good. Busy as always.
Busy is good.
Yeah. Going next to it or?
Yeah, yeah, that's fine. Here it is, folks. The new setup. So this is a 2.0 EcoBoost out of like a Focus ST, and that is a transmission for an EcoBoost Mustang. So we're gonna convert this sucker to rear-wheel drive, and hopefully we can get it to fit into that fellow over there. So that car had a 2J in it, and it got pulled out and sold. And so the reason why we're going EcoBoost is just because the form factor, and I think it would be cool to have the newest motor you can get into the oldest car you can find around here. So I think it's gonna be a long swap because it's my own personal car, and unfortunately I'm not rich like other YouTubers. So hopefully you guys will like and subscribe, start watching more of our content so I can make more money, and we can get these projects rolling faster. So the next thing that we've got to do now is I'm gonna go ahead and order the Gem Sport makes the motor plates for the 2.0 to make motor mounts. So I'm going to order those plates. That way we can get started on getting this sucker in. All right, so we got quite a bit of stuff for the EcoBoost motor, and we'll go over a parts list here shortly. So today what we're going to do is we're going to pull the oil pan off, and we are going to remove the balance shaft and change the oil pan and oil pickup. So this is a 2.0. As you guys know, this is a front wheel drive motor, and we're going to convert it to a rear sump setup. And the way we're doing that, there's a few ways of doing it, primarily using the Ford 2.3 EcoBoost stuff from like the Mustang primarily. However, the way we're doing it is we're actually using the 2003 Ford Ranger. So that's the Duratec motor. So what everyone says online is that will all completely swap over. So that's what we're gonna get started doing today. As you can see, I've got the oil filter pulled off. Oil is already drained, so we're gonna go ahead and start popping that off. So we got a couple part numbers here. I'm not gonna go over them in this video, probably in a later one. But essentially, we've got a bunch of bolts, intake manifold, a couple other parts here. So I'm gonna leave that out for now. So just really quickly, we've got these motor mount plates. These are from Gem Sport. I'm not a dealer for them. That's just where I got these. They were about $100, I believe. And so in terms of parts here, this is the 2003 Ranger Ford Ranger 2.3 pickup. We've got, and everything else here is from the 2.3 EcoBoost Mustang. We have a bunch of bolts here. I had to use some of them for the to mount it onto the engine stand though, so we're not going to go over the, we'll go over the part numbers in a later date here. But we basically just got some gaskets. We've got the coolant neck here, and so the thing about the coolant neck is that it's supposed to come with this gasket. Okay, mine unfortunately did not. This gasket was $2, but it does come with the coolant temp sensor, which I thought was kind of cool. So we need that. We've got the Mustang intake manifold here. I don't know if the throttle body is going to switch over, but we'll find out. And as you can see, it also comes with gaskets here. And this final part here is actually the coolant tube that connects to this one here, and it goes forward. So like I said, we're going to leave all this stuff here for now. Our main concern is going to be the oil pickup and the oil pan. So the pan though, I didn't buy from Ford. I actually bought it off of Amazon. It was the cheapest place that I could find it. It was like $60 or so for that. Okay, so as you can see, we got the pan off. So we're gonna work on removing the balance shaft. So the balance shaft, it's for engine harmonics, if you guys don't know. We're gonna go ahead and delete this. I do have a delete kit for it, and so we're gonna go ahead and remove this, and then here's the factory pickup here. So we're gonna go ahead and remove this, and like I said, the Ranger one goes in its place. What I am a little bit concerned about is that it looks like the hardware is going to be different. This is a bit longer than what I anticipated. I was hoping to be able to reuse it, but it's not gonna, or I was hoping to be able to reuse the hardware, but it doesn't seem like we're going to be able to. So we'll go ahead and work on removing this, and then we'll go ahead and remove the balance shaft as well. Okay. All right, so we got the balance shaft removed here. Basically, we're just going to remove, we're gonna block this off here. So that's all that gets blocked off, if memory serves. And you can see that's just where it feeds oil into the balance shaft. So, and if those who are wondering, the balance shaft, as you can see, has this gear here, and it runs off of this gear on the crank. So that's all it is. And this thing is heavy, man. It is probably all of 20 pounds, but that sucker, it's got some weight to it. So let's go ahead and grab that. We'll go ahead and we'll grab the balance shaft and the oil pickup here, and then let's just see kind of where we're at. Here's what's really interesting here. Obviously the hardware is not going to work for the oil pickup, but Ford already has the holes to secure the pickup already, which is really strange to me. Another thing too is that on the EcoBoost stuff, the old one uses an O-ring, but on the new one, believe it or not, this is actually RTV. So that scares me a little bit, but nothing too crazy. But like I said, yeah, the hardware unfortunately is not going to work. So this is you can see that there's a large length difference here. So we're gonna have to go find some hardware, not only for the pickup itself, but for the mounting holes as well. So the good thing is that they are in fact the same thread pitch. So we just got to go find some hardware. And this pickup is slightly bent, it looks like. Either it's slightly bent or it doesn't line up just perfect. So it just looks like it's slightly off here at this hole. So I'm going to remove it from the tube itself and see if I can line it up. Yeah, so it's slightly off here. So we're going to have to probably bend this bracket here, because the way it's resting now, I can feel that it's not completely flush right here. So we'll go ahead and we'll figure what to do about that. But the first things first is finding hardware. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab the balance shaft delete wherever it went off to. Okay, so this is the balance shaft delete here. It's nothing super crazy, just a little plate and some hardware. And man, if I can get this thing out. But yeah, so it's got a little O-ring here. It just covers this hole. And then you got this Allen bolt that goes through it and locks it in place. Now, I could have made this, but you know, I paid 20 bucks for this on eBay. So it was just not really worth making, in my opinion. So we're gonna go ahead and install that. I've also got the oil pan out here. This is like I said, this is the 2003 2.3 Ranger pan. And man, it's like so crazy to me. Let's go ahead and get this out of the way for a second here. What's so crazy to me is that, like, just putting it on here. Oh, the dipstick's in the way. Oh, okay. But anyways, so the dipstick's in the way, but look at this, guys. It like lines up exactly right. All the bolt holes are the exact same. So it's just crazy to me that Ford just reused a lot of this stuff. But it makes sense though. You know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So we're gonna go ahead and what we'll do for now, like I said, is I'm gonna clean this all up a little bit here. We'll put some Loctite on this guy, and then we'll pop this sucker in and then get this all sealed up for the balance shaft delete. Then I'll pull the dipstick out and we'll start cleaning up, removing the RTV here that goes along this to get it ready to get it sealed, because that's all that is just make a gasket. Okay, so we got the balance shaft delete in. That's Loctited. And now taking a look at the pan. So we moved the dipstick out of the way because the Ranger's dipstick is right here. But we moved that out of the way. And all the bolt holes line up, and it looks like the hardware is going to be the same. So that's a huge plus there. So we'll take this, we're gonna set this aside for now. And the next thing, like I said before, is we're gonna figure out what's going on with this dipstick here. So you can, like I said before, you probably can't see it here, but this backside of the old pickup is like bent at an angle. So it looks like we're going to have to modify this just a hair. And what I'm thinking about doing is, it's probably an issue with this bracket here because it needs to basically rotate a little bit more. The problem is that if we bend this here, right, we rotate this here, there's a good chance that it's going to cause this bracket to move into a different spot. So what I'm going to do is I'm probably just going to try to find some hardware first to get everything lined up in terms of these two brackets. And what I'll do is I'll just kind of bend this bracket. Once I get these two situated, tightened up, we'll start to bend this a little bit more just to get it to line up right here. So we'll put 2 bolts in here. We'll put 2 bolts in here, bolt here and a bolt here, so total 4. And then we'll start to bend down on it to see if we can get it to rotate in the correct orientation. The flip side is though, yeah, I think that's going to be the plan. I was thinking that maybe we could just cut this all together, but I don't know if that's enough support for this. But okay, we'll figure that out. Go ahead and just find some hardware for now. So we have some hardware in it right now. We were able to reuse some of it here, but like I said, it's just in temporarily for now. We can't really tighten this all the way down because this flange is off. All right, so I was able to get this in. This isn't perfectly straight, but it is tightened down where it's relatively flush. So these are M6 by 1.0. So I had just some metric bolts that I had laying around. But yeah, so M6 by 1.0. And I've got to take this all back out because I've got to put a little bit of RTV on the pickup. I did confirm that this is RTV from the 2.3 Ranger. There's not a gasket for this. Like I said, it's just RTV. So we're gonna back these out, just take them out completely. And then we're gonna hit everything with a little bit of Loctite just to be on the safe side. Just a little bit of Loctite there, nothing too insane, just because these are only grade 10 bolts. I'd feel a bit better with grade 8s, but you know, for something like this, I don't think it's that big of a deal. So we'll go ahead and get that. As you guys saw, I've already cleaned up the surface here. So once I put RTV on this and hit this stuff with a little bit of Loctite, then the pan's ready to go back on. Okay, so the fresh Ranger pan is on. I was removing some of the brackets and I was able to reuse some of the hardware here for the mounts. We're still missing a couple bolts, not a big deal though. Just wanted to go ahead and get that on. So this side is already done.